You know, the Ghana-Ivory Coast game played at Elmina was one of a series of games planned. As we plan for the future, and I think for a lot of people they're confused as to why we play games and who takes part in the games and the essence of it, put a plan together after the Bronze Cup. My discussions with Colin Osborne, which were very clear, that if Ghana was to break through, we needed to get a dedicated group of players who were prepared to train and apply themselves in a way that Ghana is not used to right the way through. And we've been trying to do that. It is difficult for a lot of players. Some are working, some have got jobs, some can't take the time off. And it's been a difficult balance for us to get those who can do, be part, improve, change, fit into the vision that we all have. That is myself, Colin Osborne, Stuart, Coach Dallas, into what really it'll take for Ghana to be one of the top nations in Africa. And given the fact that the major competitions have been suspended by Africa Rugby, and we're now preparing for a different format later on this year, which might bring greater equity, I think that is the aim of Africa Rugby, to ensure that all nations get a chance. If you're within the 16 top seeded nations within Africa, get the chance to go for the World Cup without going through the gold, silver, bronze structure, then we need to prepare. We've seen Zimbabwe playing in the Super Sport Challenge in South Africa, playing very well indeed against, I think I saw them against Western Province and playing against the Sharks. I'm sure it was, and they played extraordinarily well. That level of competition week in, week out, or every couple of weeks, means that they are on a different level to what most of us would be able to compete with. Because you might be good at home, but if you're not playing at top level, it's something that's not going to happen. And if you are playing at home and you're not fit enough, strong enough, resilient enough, playing competitively, training competitively, then you certainly can't go and play against the Sharks or against Western Province or the Blue Bulls or anybody else of that nature. So they have a program where they're very, very serious and says, we don't want to just be in the Silver Cup or the Gold Cup. We want to actually go and play in the World Cup. When I look at the calculations, a country like Ghana could end up playing against the Zimbabwe's and Tunisia's of this world. We are in the top 16. We've done the hard work. We've broken through 1D. We've broken through the Bronze Cup. And we're now ranked, I think, 12th within Africa, which is a massive achievement for us. But when we play in these friendlies, be it against Ivory Coast, be it against Nigeria soon, I'm in the process of trying to put together a Super League to play our neighbors. The key for us is what kind of squad are we going to have come October? And then once that competition, which will run 2019-2020, our 2021-22 competition takes us to World Cup. Who is going to be fit enough, young enough, committed enough to play? It's not like the old days. There's a competition. You just go and call the biggest names and say, come and play. It has to be a combination. And therefore, watching us play against Ivory Coast was a tremendous achievement. I think those who have tried to belittle the achievement are naive, or they have something, behind their thought. Because to watch a team put together, and don't forget that since we got involved in rugby in Ghana, a lot of the players who have played were not playing before, and vice versa. There isn't anybody who has a fixed place in the team. It's based upon merit. We went after the Bronze Cup up to Tunisia, and a lot of the big names who played in the Bronze Cup were not invited up. So even current captain Hamza was not in that squad. Players like Alex, etc., were not up there in that squad. And yet it is that for this squad, we had 6 out of 25 to 30 players being foreign players, and not all of them started. It was great to see young players like Monchon, who did not have a good game up in Tunisia, playing fantastically well against Ivory Coast. And to be able to start with 2 wingers, like himself and Bruno. We didn't have Selam, who is fantastic, up here with us. And look, players like Bless, if they came for training every week, they would definitely have been playing. But we can't have people in and out as much as we encourage them and want them to play. It was great to see players like Hunan stand up and be our main prop. A year ago, he wasn't there. We had Percy and we had Ken. This time we had Ken in the squad and we had Hunan starting and Wahid. Who would have thought that Wahid would have started and played so very, very well at this level? Don't forget, playing against Ivory Coast was 4 or 5 levels above that of the Bronze Cup. So the standard itself was much higher. It's not about who Ivory Coast were in the past or present. The fact is they were a lot better. The standard was a lot better. The game was faster. Technically, they were a lot better and bigger and stronger. So it was good to see players come up and to watch people like Prince play and train as a prop and actually come on and play very well indeed. I think there is a huge future when you look at the way things have changed. William at number 2 played fantastically well. His breaks, the coordination. Look, there's a long way to go. They were not perfect. But it was great and encouraging to see them all playing well. And those who played support staff as well played well. Teteka at loose forward was a revelation. I think it was the best game that I've seen him play. The impact he made when he came on was a joy to see. And I think that was very, very positive as well. We had some injuries. Of course, Alex is Alex. And he leads in silence without making too much noise. It was great to see him play so well at the same time. Look, I could go through the whole team. And the young Richard, when he came on at scrum half, was extraordinary. He brought a speed and a depth, a quickness to what it was about in a way that, look, made him a player for the present future. We've gone back into camp, seeing John Donko come in from St. West saying, I really want to learn. I want to be part of the squad. You can see people are rolling in. We are not out there determining who should or who shouldn't for whatever reason. But it's great to see that kind of depth. Hamza back in. It was great to have him. I mean, he's a unifier, isn't he? Somebody who has objectivity and leadership. And that was great to see. France is improving. He knows he's got to go away and do a little bit more kicking. Almost nearly there. You know, it's almost to the point where very soon you're going to say, do you need Alex or you don't need Alex? And it's for, you know, the Alex Ekotos to raise their game and make sure that nobody can take that slot. It's all being said openly here in a friendly, positive way. But look, Jerry from South Africa, for me, was a revelation. The line breaks, the defensive patterns was extraordinary. The speed with which he brought was great to see. Look, it was difficult for the guys who were fasting. We know that Jalilu is our number 1 fullback. The heat and intensity in Elmina was something else. But look, as we prepare for the next game, we're playing in a few weeks' time again. That'll be Ghana against either in the Super Cup format or against Burkina. Before we go on to other matches, we're going to get to a point where every 2 weeks we're playing matches for a period before we start Sevens League to run parallel to this 15th tournament, because Africa Rugby looks as though we'll have us playing in structured format 15th game in October, and in November it's already been announced. We've got Olympic qualification in South Africa. We're going to try and take a squad of players down there in advance to see how well we can do this time round. But there are players who we're bringing through. There are players in the under-20s who went through a baptism of fire, as was to be expected, in Kampala. Young players who haven't taken even the local league that seriously in terms of training, fitness, stamina, strength training, who went and I think had their eyes open. There are lots of 3, 4, 5 players from there who are being included in the senior squad to come and train if they want to. And it's great to see some of them coming through to come and train right now. There are younger players who didn't make the cut. People like Tereku, who's definitely a player of the present future. We've got players like Michael, who's been training with us, who didn't get to play in the Ivory Coast match, but who will definitely be there. The key is who is in there training every single day, which Coach Dallas, who coordinates with Colin. And therefore, you're going to see a different structured side, again, that comes out with Burkina. And I'm excited. It'll be terrible if you have players who are irreplaceable. It would be terrible if you have players whose positions cannot change. You know, if we have old-timers, I mean, look, I miss my buddy Mumuni. I really do. I think if a fit Mumuni would slot in at number 2 before everybody. But without training, we're not going to get him there. You've got past captains like Ako, who clearly cannot be candidates. I mean, who are not training and who are not part of it. So you can't dote on sentiment. You've got to dote and say, which squad do you have of players? And I see them now. There's 15, 20, 22, 24 of them who are training. We've got some who we understand for work reasons can't train and be there all the time. And we have a system and a structure and a group of players who we're looking at from all of the clubs who are coming forward and saying, look, we want to wear the national jersey. We want to be part of it. And as you all know, nobody's excluded. Nobody at all. You exclude yourselves. We don't exclude you from the other side. So I'd like to thank the coaches in particular. I'd like to thank Dr. Ross Batita for the time he came up to make corrective action on some people. And Colin goes without saying, Stuart goes without saying, but it is Dallas that we've got to give great credit to. He is our national coach. He is here on the ground. And the work he puts in has been absolutely extraordinary. Look, for guys who missed out, for guys who are not there, for guys who have gone into retirement, look, you've got to be excited about your colleagues. Look at it. It's mainly a Ghanaian-based team. It's not a foreign-based team. There were 6 of them. You know, and I've always said, I used to say to the old guard who are here, as much as possible, we'll use local players. There are specialist positions that we definitely need foreign players. And for even those specialist positions, we talk to them. Francis, go kick every day. Do a 90 minutes out there kicking, get it correct. You get close to Alex in that regard. Then your decision-making at crucial points will be key. Look, scrum half at one point, we were lost. Who are we going to use? You know, because we have players who obviously cannot come to training regularly. And the gap now, we have Risha, we have John Donko coming saying, I really want to be a part of it. I'm going to improve. I'm going to get quicker. I really want to understand the way the training is going. So there's a lot of use of other people who are fitting into positions, and that is what excites me. It excites me as well as that we don't have one big name. We're no longer saying, oh, we've got this guy. He is Ghana Rugby. It doesn't exist like that anymore. We've got a group of people, a team. You notice I didn't even mention Bosuka or Lukman in this at all. You know, and I think one of them are going to be fighting for their place because Michael, clearly from St. West, is down here training, his coordination, his national strength, you know, his fitness levels are improving. And it's quite clear that he'll be fighting for contention in the very next match. And we're going to try and pull in others, the Erics and the rest from St. West, to be part of a bigger, more versatile team. And as I've said, come September, we will know what the squad is to take us in for another major tournament. You know, but big team or small team, we'll evaluate, we'll have a look, we'll see where we're going, and we'll say, oh, we could have won. Yes, Ivory Coast, we could have won. The knock-ons before they'd scored, if the touch judges had seen it, would have made a big difference in terms of what happened in the game. But it's not about winning or losing for me or my colleagues. It's about seeing what squad of players is committed to the national cause, is prepared to work with our vision that we've put forward, and we'll make it work. So I take off my hat to all of those who are present. I take off my hat to all of those who tried, and I'm sorry for those who didn't make the cut, Tereku and Michael, but believe me, they're going to be there next time round as we move forward. Thank you, guys. And I said, watch the picture, join in if you want to. Everybody has a chance.